And I guess I'll just first give a brief overview of kind of what we're going to do, and then we can go through questions. Basically, we chose 34 locations around the city, which are on this map, and they are the lower numbers, the 1 through 10 or so, are locations that there have been some data collection in the past. So our priority, with limited resources, is to try to get the lower numbers to the extent we can, so that we can compare past data. And then as we have more people, or if more people are able to do more times, go down into the higher numbers. So I have for each location, I have an AM and a PM map. So if you sign up for AM at location 4, I'll give you that map. And basically you'll just fill in your name, weather locations, the date, the time you started and stopped at, and the arrows here on each map show the correlation of what movement you're looking at. So for example, the first location is at the corner of Webster and Prospect, and as you can see on the maps, you're trying to get basically the cross section of where the arrows are. So locations 1 and 2 would be looking at Prospect right there, and locations 3 and 4 would be looking at Webster. A lot of these intersections are either have stop signs or signals, so it shouldn't be too difficult to see both parts of the intersection, but you don't need to worry, for example, if somebody comes down Webster and goes up Prospect. It's basically by focusing on the intersection, we're able to collect, different methodologies do it where you would say, collect on Prospect between this intersection and the next intersection. I've raised them to intersections so that we're able to collect double counts at that. So you don't need to worry about stuff that's beyond your arrows here. And here we've got bikes, pedestrians, and then more so there's a few on the community path. I put down joggers, rollerbladers, or others. For the majority of people, it's just collecting bikes and pedestrians. But if you're doing a community path route and there are a lot of joggers, it would be great if you can differentiate. If you can't, make note of it and just say, I'm counting joggers as pedestrians. Let's see. So we're asking people to count for an hour in either the morning or the afternoon, between 7:45 and 9 a.m. in the morning, whatever works with your schedule, and 4:45 and 6:15 at night. Again, whatever works with your schedule. On the back of each map, there's a short evaluation, just if you think something was really difficult that we should note so we know how to interpret the data. Also, if you have any suggestions for improvements based on your experience being out there. And then if we can call on you again, perhaps to email about future data collection. And also if you need more room to kind of make tally marks or whatever, it could be a little small. I also have just a sheet in case anyone asks you what you're doing and you want to show them that you're helping the city out on this bike and pedestrian counting project. It's got my contact information if anyone has questions that you're busy tallying and you just want to give them my contact information, that's fine. One thing I wanted to mention. So for example, if you're at this intersection of Prospect and Webster, and you have somebody who's walking this way and then turns and walks this way, the question is, do I double count, right? And what we're looking for really is the number of people using a certain roadway. So it's fine to double count because they're biking down Prospect and they're biking down Webster. And we'll note that when we write up this methodology, that there is going to be some double counting, because it would be, say you were collecting here and here, you would certainly be double counting as well. It's just that we've brought them to a point that it seems kind of awkward, but I think we can explain it that it's not awkward and it makes sense. And then the other things, just look for people on both sides of the streets in terms of pedestrians on sidewalks. And there are a few intersections like this one, Highland and Walnut Street, just kind of down here by the library, where Walnut's a one-way. So we've marked a whole, section 4, the arrow is for making note of people going the wrong way on a one-way, because that's pretty frequent, because there's not a lot of, ways to get over the railroad tracks. So that's kind of the overview. Do you guys have any questions?
So do we just sign up for one particular corner? Or
Yeah, so basically you can sign up for as many as you can. I mean, the most anyone can sign up for is 6, but you're welcome to sign up for as many as you can. And we're trying, again, to make sure that we get kind of the lower numbers filled. But, choose a place that's convenient for you. And we just need to know whether or not you're committing to counting in the morning or the afternoon. And
what about weather? There's like severe weather, rainy weather. Are we still going out?
I mean, if you know that it's going to be, if you say you've committed to doing a morning and Thursday's going to be horrible, try to go out Wednesday. I mean, I think that's the best rule of thumb. I mean, if it's pouring out the day you said you could do it, I mean, a lot of people have to walk in the rain, bike in the rain. If you don't mind doing it, that would be awesome, to do it. If there's any problem that comes up, something happens and you can't do what you said you were going to do, if you could just let me know right away so I can try to refill that position. But, I mean, you've had experience. Do you have other suggestions for the rainy, really bad weather?
I think that's a good suggestion. You could just have a rain date. I guess you want to keep it in that week, though. You don't want to try and push it off to the next week.
Yeah, next week's bike week, so that might inflate numbers. So I guess, worst case scenario, if it's really horrible and you really don't want to go out, maybe Friday, you could do it if you were planning on doing it Thursday. But, again, just make note of that on your forms. And then in terms of afterward, in terms of getting the forms back to me, if you could either drop them off or mail them to me, or I think that's the easiest, actually. And then I'll handle the data input. And I've got the mailing address on the back of this form here. That would be really helpful if you could do that.
Are you going to have floaters if people get sick or if they can't make it for some reason? Or not? Do you want to try and do that?
Well, do you think that's a good idea?
I do.
I could be a floater.
It depends how many people you have doing this, but if you have more than 10 or 15, then you're going to have some people not show up for sure. You might anyway, but as the more locations you have, the more likely something will go wrong, and you might as well have someone get an important location if it's a high number.
Right.
That drops out.
And I guess the fact that we're doing it 3 days kind of helps catch that. My one request is if you can't do something you committed to just really let me know right away,
right.
and I can fill in. Or,
you could move people around from higher numbers to lower numbers potentially.
Yeah. So
okay.
My contact information's all here, and
So these don't differentiate between the 3 days you're doing it. Are you doing each location just on one day, or each location 3 days?
No, just each location 1 day. Right. So it doesn't matter to us what day, save 6 of those Tuesday morning slots that the Central Transportation Planning staff is also trying to collect data on. So there are 6 Tuesday morning slots that I'm looking specifically to fill. But other than that, it doesn't matter. So basically I have a sign-up sheet and you all can choose, and then I'll give you the corresponding form that goes with that location. And if there's something out there, if you've never done this before and there's something you're kind of like, shoot, I don't know how to do this, just be consistent and then explain how you've done it if you think it's a little bit of a weird situation or something like that.
I would say find a spot where it's easy to see, and bring a chair or something to be comfortable somewhere you can hang out for an hour without being in the way, and that you can deal with. Bring a clipboard or something like that.
Yeah, clipboard's a great idea.
So you can write.
There's a couple suggestions like that on the back of the sheet. To bring a spare pencil or whatever it is you're collecting with. So and if you have any questions leading up to it that you think of, you can feel free to email me or call me, and I'll do my best to answer it.